You've just tuned in to the nexus of inspiring, encouraging, and uplifting leaders who share their successes and their failures. Insights that will motivate, cultivate, educate, and illuminate your path to a very bright future. Welcome to Shaping the Future podcast. Here's your host, Gregg Kell.
Hello there, Future Shapers. This is Gregg with today's episode of Shaping the Future podcast. And today, I'll introduce you to Jim Ferraro, the owner of Executive Facilities Services in Riverside, California. Jim, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good morning, Gregg. My name is Jim Ferraro. Again, as Gregg stated, I am 55 years old, and I've been a resident of Riverside, California for the past 30 years. For the last 15 years, I've been the owner and operator of Executive Facilities Services, a building maintenance and janitorial company servicing Southern California. We currently have facilities based in Riverside that service the Inland Empire, another site in Moore Park, which services northern Los Angeles County and Ventura County, and we've just recently opened a new site in Central Coast that will service from San Jose to Santa Cruz down to the Monterey Peninsula.
Excellent, Jim. Thank you for sharing with the Future Shapers audience. Let me tell you, we are passionate about entrepreneurship and innovation. We believe this generates higher productivity, profits, and growth for small businesses today. Tell me, Jim, what are you most passionate about today?
Well, I'll tell you, Gregg, I think I'm most passionate about growth because I believe if you're not growing, you're dying. So you constantly need to be looking for the next growth opportunity, the next prospective client, that next revenue stream. So that is my continual focus each and every day.
Excellent. Well, with 15 years as the owner of your firm, I'm sure you've seen a lot. A lot of water has gone under the bridge over the years. We find that sometimes we think life is going to be this, and it doesn't turn out to be that. Sometimes there is a curveball hurled in our direction. Would you share with the Future Shapers that are listening today a short story about your worst experience as the leader of Executive Facility Services?
You know, I had an experience with a client that I won't name that I'd worked very hard to develop a strong business and a personal relationship with. It was a good client, someone that we exceeded their expectations, but there was a corporate mandate that they had to change service providers every 12 months. So on one day, our contract was renewed. Everything looked rosy and shiny for the following year. And the next day, our contract was canceled. And it wasn't related to price and it wasn't related to service. It was just a corporate directive. And that was very disappointing.
Those kind of unexpected events can be quite challenging. What lessons did you learn from this?
You know, never to overestimate the longevity of a contract. You always have to be aware that each contract does have a life, and there is something or someone that could come into that situation and change the course of the direction in which it's heading.
Excellent. And how did this understanding help you to become the success that you are today?
You know, honestly, Gregg, it's only reinforced my belief that we need to continue to establish the strong business and personal relationships with our clients. It's easier to have the relationship with a client where you develop the friendship and they trust you, that you become someone that they can go to in a time of need instead of just an ordinary service provider. And you're able to do that by building those relationships and being responsive, very responsive to their needs.
Excellent. Trust and responsivity. We have experienced, Future Shapers, a value bomb dropped by Jim Ferraro today. Trust and responsibility, the hallmark of an outstanding business relationship. Jim, here we are at the end of the first quarter of 2018. At this time, Jim, what is your most important goal for your business in 2018?
My most important goal that I've identified is the development of our managers. I've recently added 2 new operations managers, I guess you'd call millenniums, that I want to work with closely to give them personal and professional development and turn them into the professionals that I believe that they can be.
And how do you, specifically, how do you help to do that over time?
Well, it's something I work with them every single day. We're using technology also as far as monitoring the progress, assigning assignments. I've also just instituted a reading program for them all, a once a month Audible book, since they're on the road quite a bit, that they'll be listening to an Audible book that I select for them that'll be business related. So I'm trying to give them additional tools that they can expand their horizons, expand their education base.
Audible is excellent. I'm a big fan. Listening to Audible on the way to visit you today. Outstanding book. And we are a big believer in education. We're going to get to that just a little bit longer. When you look forward, as you are developing and expanding, really fostering growth of your business this year, what concerns do you have?
In the industry right now, we're seeing a trend that our competitors are utilizing what's called an independent contractor, which gives them the cost advantage when we're bidding competitive contracts. That competitor is not required to pay workers' compensation, insurance, or payroll taxes. They're able to pretty much skirt around those requirements, and we're hoping that our clients are aware that if they do contract with someone like that they put themselves at liability. So that's something we're trying to educate our clients about. That's been our biggest challenge. We operate with all W-2 employees, meet all tax requirements, all insurance requirements, and we just want to be on a level playing field with everyone that we bid against.
Sometimes a level playing field seems like it's too much to ask. It's a challenge. How can you overcome these challenges? Because it's impossible to really to control, I would say, the integrity of the people that you're competing with.
Well, you need to make your client aware. Your client's looking for two things, or our prospective client is looking at two things: price and service. So when we're developing a relationship and speaking to them, it's my job to educate them on their own protection, that they want general liability insurance for people that are coming onto their property, that they want someone who's paying workers' compensation insurance that could possibly be injured while they're on their property, and someone that, of course, is paying their fair share of payroll taxes. So I make sure that every prospective client, I make them aware of those needs when they're looking at a competitor, and, of course, when they're looking at what we do.
Outstanding. Another value bomb dropped by Jim Ferraro. Operate with integrity and live up to the requirements that the state, the city, and the location has to pay the right insurance to protect you as well as your prospects. Excellent. Outstanding. So tell me, Jim, we're going to go back into the Wayback Machine. Way back in time, all the way 15 years ago. Tell me about the time when you were considering stepping out and forming your own business. What was that like? What reluctance or concerns did you have at that time?
You know, it's funny, Greg, I actually didn't really have any concerns. I basically burned the bridges behind me. I had a 20-year corporate career, and at that time, I was a CEO of a $500 million plus company in Los Angeles, and I'd gotten some guidance from the founder of that company about building wealth and building your own business and what it takes to do so. And I really didn't have a fear. I took the leap of faith. I burned the bridge, cut all the ties, and said I'm going to go on my own, and then started my operations.
Outstanding. But what is your why? Why did you form Executive Facility Services? Because
when I met with this gentleman, he planted a seed in my mind that stays with me today. He said, I had to build true wealth, I had to be willing to do what other people don't want to do. And when I looked at all the industries that were there, I was in the service industry for 20 plus years, and I knew I needed to stay in that industry because that's where my skill set was. I looked at industries and I thought, what does anybody not want to do? And honestly, nobody wanted to do janitorial work. It's a $6 billion industry, but it's unheard of. I had an undergraduate degree in accounting. I hold a master's degree, and no one ever thought I would be in the janitorial business, but I was willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. I don't care about status. I don't care about titles. None of that interests me. I was looking for the long-range goal, and the long-range goal was the accumulation of time and money.
Outstanding. Once again, a value bomb dropped by Jim Ferraro. Future shapers, we all must be willing to do what others are unwilling to do. Operate with integrity, with a vision of how you can serve those people that really in a manner that other people don't want to do. Outstanding. Tell me at this point, we're back in the present, Jim.
Sure.
You're expanding. One of your distinctions is seeking to growth and expansion. Tell me about the profile of your ideal client or prospect at this time.
The ideal client to me would be someone who could clearly state what their wants, needs, and desires are. What are they looking for? What type of services? What do they need to be done at? And what level of service or expectations do they have? And also that price will not be the major consideration because I will not always be the cheapest out there. So I'm looking for someone who's looking for a quality service and someone who's looking for a long-term relationship and a relationship that can grow. And that is my ideal client.
And how do you express that? How do you draw those wants and needs and desires in a business relationship so you understand who you're dealing with?
You know, Greg, it's simple. It's a listening skill. To be an entrepreneur, you need to be able to listen clearly to what your prospective client or your existing client wants, needs, or desires. Don't try to take what they want, which is a square, and put it into the round peg, which you think they need. Most people make the mistake of trying to force their ideas or their services or what they think their client needs instead of listening to the client needs and then come back and proposing how you can meet their needs with your services at a reasonable and competitive price.
Outstanding, Jim. Did you notice, Future Shapers? Jim has transitioned from being an owner to being a coach. His coaching advice is listen, pay attention, be concerned for other people. Outstanding. Jim, we in the Future Shapers audience are a big believer in education and reading. Is there a book you might recommend to the Future Shapers audience, and why?
Certainly is. There's a book that I've probably read a dozen times or more. It's probably started in publication back in the 1930s by a gentleman by the name of Dale Carnegie. And it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I make all of the managers that work for me read that book annually, and I probably read it twice a year. And it's just the basic fundamentals and principles that were written 70 plus years ago are still in practice today.
Excellent. We, the Future Shapers, believe that simple actions and habits, like training, engaged over time, work together to yield an excellent future. What are you doing right now to shape your professional future?
You know, it's continuing education. Again, Greg, as you mentioned, I'm an audiobook listener, and a book reader, and I believe that leaders are readers, and in turn, listeners can be readers. So you got to constantly be staying in tune with what's taking place in the market. You got to be continually the learning curve. It's not something you ever want to stop. You want to go ahead and continue to grow with it, and then the people around you want them to grow with you.
Once again, a value bomb dropped on the Future Shapers audience today. Continually grow, but importantly, help the people around you to grow as well. A heart of service, a heart of education, a commitment to continual personal development. All from Jim Ferraro today. Jim, changing the subject, we in the Future Shapers believe that our nation is at a tipping point right now, and that we as citizens must intentively and proactively shape our nation's future. In your opinion, Jim, what is America to you?
America to me is capitalism. America to me is opportunity for everyone, depending on what amount of effort they're willing to put in. And I think we need to continue to make those opportunities available to people through small business opportunities, through large company growth opportunities for people who want to go down the job path, to continue to make education available and affordable to our next generation. But to me, it's all about capitalism and opportunity that comes along with it.
Capitalism and opportunity. Thank you for sharing that with the Future Shapers audience. Jim, tell the listeners that no doubt are enraptured by the sharing that you've done today, how they can contact you and what they might receive as they reach out to you.
Sure. Anybody can contact via my email address. My personal email address is jff710@aol.com. So please feel free to contact me. I think that if you're sitting out there today and you're thinking you're in a career position that maybe you're not happy with, or you're looking at new opportunities and you're scared to make that jump, feel free to contact me. I was someone that did that at 42 years old with 3 kids who were pre-college, that I knew college educations were coming, but I knew I had to take that jump because if I didn't take it then, I never would. And to do so, you've got to have faith, you've got to have confidence, you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to pretty much cut your safety net. Because once you do, you'll have that fear in your mind, and you've got to learn how to use that fear as your motivator to succeed. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. We're based in Riverside. Our company website address is www.execservices, execservices.biz. So you can reach me in either method.
Outstanding, Jim. Thank you for sharing with us, and I especially like that little tidbit at the end. Cut the safety net. Step out in faith with belief that you can serve other people, and in particular, maybe focus on those areas that other people don't want to do. But do this with a heart of education and desire to build other people up. Those are some of the lessons shared to us today by Jim. Future Shapers audience, thank you for sharing with us today, and look forward for our next episode of Shaping the Future podcast. Have a good day.
Thank you for joining this episode of Shaping the Future podcast. We leave you, future shapers, with this challenge. Act boldly today to shape your future, because if you don't, it will absolutely be shaped for you.